transfer. How systems will communicate? They will not communicate with hi, hello, good morning, good evening. Just they will communicate by exchanging the data. Whatever the data is created in the one system, the data will get transferred to the other system. So that is called the integration. So the old way of integration is this, and so this is called point-to-point integration. So at some point of time, if you have very limited systems, still it was a bit confusing. If you have many systems, your integrations will be out of control. Anyone cannot control the integrations. So these are the drawbacks of your point-to-point integration. To avoid all these drawbacks, we have a new thing comes into the picture, that is middleware. Whatever the communication goes to the different system, that should go through the middleware. The name comes from as it sits between the two or more systems. So is it middleware, right? And then some theoretical points of the middleware we have discussed, and how many ways systems will exchange the data, how many ways we can communicate. We can communicate from either Google Meet, we can communicate from Hangouts, or we can communicate from Zoom, different applications. In the same way, applications also exchange the data with the help of different ways, with the help of files, databases, using JMS, MQ, web services, SOAP and REST, and application-based connectors. So for every connector, for every application, major applications in the market have the connectors. So the middleware vendor will write a code to connect to that system and expose the data, or read or write the data through that system. That piece of software is called connectors or adapters. So it depends so on the product. So in MuleSoft we'll call them as a connectors. So popular middleware tools in the market: MuleSoft, Boomi, Sova, BW, WSO2 ESB, JBoss ESB, SAP PI, Apache Camel. Like that, there are a big list was there. So previously, BW and Sova Suite, these are the leaders in the market. But due to the cloud, these two are not upgraded to the cloud. So the solution has provided in the MuleSoft and Boomi. So most of the organizations now are using MuleSoft and Boomi. Major products are on the MuleSoft. Major integrations are on the MuleSoft. If the integration is very small integrations, and you don't have many systems to integrate, then people are switching to the Boomi. So Boomi is a product from the Dell. So what is a MuleSoft? Is a vendor provides an integration platform to help what? To help business to connect data, applications, devices across on-premises and cloud computing environment. What it says in the previously, when we talk about middleware, it only connect the applications. Now these guys are saying they are connecting the data, applications, devices. Devices means your mobile or your swiping card machines, whatever, small devices, right? And the device might be either in the application or device might be in the on-premise or it in the cloud computing environment. It was founded by Ross Masson in 2006, and in 2018 it was acquired by the Salesforce, and now your MuleSoft is a Salesforce company's product. Now, MuleSoft customer base, this is a world slide. It has around 1,75,000 plus developers, 1,100 plus customers. This is a 2 years back slide. 100% I am sure that there was a doubled or tripled on these numbers. So Salesforce is a big application. It has many clients. So whoever is buying or whoever are already customers of the Salesforce, so Salesforce simply projecting the MuleSoft applications to them. So that is the reason we have heavy demand in the market. There is a huge gap between the demand and the supply of the resources in the market for the MuleSoft. There are people who are getting jobs from different channels, but they are not going through going through the projects. In my project for MuleSoft from our company, we need to give 13 members to our project. we have onboarded only 3 members. The SOW signed in February for 13 members, 10 developers and 3 testers. We have given 3 developers. We are not getting proper developers, right? They're getting jobs from different channels, but they are not able to clear the client interviews, right? So that was the demand. So the demand is always there for every technology for the quality resources. And advantages, it's accessible. Any developer can learn the Mule. Development is drag drop based. This is for only for developer point of view who are learning newly. And when it comes to the customer point of view, these are the advantages, and the main advantage is the cloud ready. This is what it compared to the other middleware products: lightweight, mediation, message agnostic. These are all common points of all middlewares. The cloud ready. So when you are deploying an application, when client deploys the application, he will maintain his servers in the data centers. That is the old way of, I mean, that is the way people used to do few years back. Now everything was in the cloud. All the applications are maintained by the product vendors or application vendors on their own cloud. Just we have to pay money and use it. However, we will use Gmail, Yahoo. In the same way, all the servers are maintained by the vendors that who are selling the product or application. So cloud ready. Even the same way we need middleware product where the integration platform or the integrations runtime needs to be provided by the vendor. So that is what done by your MuleSoft. That is the reason it was popular. Not only cloud ready, there are other points that we'll discuss in the any point platform introduction session. After completing the implementations, we will start at the 20 or 25th day. Before 30th day, we will start the platform. So there you will clearly understand why MuleSoft is that much famous. And licensing, previously we'll have 2 versions: community and enterprise version. MuleSoft is famous for cloud ready. So cloud ready means you have to buy the subscription. So that is part of enterprise version. Now there is no concept of community version, so it's an enterprise version. Prerequisite to learn MuleSoft, you don't need any prerequisite to learn MuleSoft. Anyone with basic understanding on the computer can learn the MuleSoft. What needed is your dedication and commitment towards learning it. And hardware prerequisite, you need minimum 4 GB of RAM available, and that is the hardware prerequisite. And the softwares required, we need Studio with 7.8 and embedded runtime Mule 4.3. So this is the link where you will download the Studio. Please save this link, and you'll have for future session you need any point platform account, and then REST client. I will let you know whatever is needed on that day. So you have to go through it. And what you will get in my course, already explained: PowerPoint presentations. Whatever I'm showing in my session, you will get that as a reading material in the PDF form. For every class, you will get a whatever the example I discussed in the class, you will get a practice guide, step-by-step guide, and all the videos will be recorded. And you can pay once, and if at all it's not possible for you to continue, you can happily come and join the next classes. Just you need to touch base with us to know the when classes started, what class is going on. And at the end of the session, I will give 2 projects for you to practice, and within the course we'll develop a small project with the industry standard. We'll not guarantee that we'll help you on certification, but most of our students are being certified. We never guarantee to anyone that will help you in certification, but that it's become now part of the thing. So most of our students, after completing the batches, are clearing a certification. So even last 2 days back, one guy completed certification. What is his name? I forgot. Yeah, Lakshmikant. So 2 days back, one guy completed certification. Even his classes are not yet completed. So you'll get an certification. You'll get a certificate. Once you get certified, you will get a PDF from MuleSoft, something like this, with so and so name. You are a MuleSoft developer certified, and it completed MCD 1. So it is valid from the 2 years. He completed on 24th. So most of our students are certified. Will guide you to do that. Okay, so choosing the trainer, just I have already explained. Don't go with the fancy words. We'll do that. We'll do this. If you teach course properly, you will get certified. You will clear the interview questions. You have to work on your own. That is the objective of any training, not only this training, right? So the next one, uh, we'll go with the setup and running your first example. Hope most of you done it by seeing my YouTube videos. So generally, I'll keep first two to three sessions in the YouTube so that people can at least go through them and get an idea whether they want to learn this or not. So we'll quickly go through it. Setup first example, running and debugging. Contents, Anypoint Studio, introduction to Studio, download and install it, building fast Mule application, introduction to the Mule applications and flows, Mule flows, running fast Mule application, debugging the Mule application. This is a part of the day two session. So introduction to Anypoint Studio. It's based on Eclipse, a common Java integrated development environment. So before going to the slides, we'll try to have some basic discussion. So what is IDE? Anyone have idea an IDE? What is an IDE?
Integrated development environment.
What does it mean?
We can develop our applications like Java, Eclipse, and coming to this, we have Anypoint Studio and all that. That's it.
Okay. What is
Environment.
Notepad versus IDE? What was the differences?
Notepad is just like we can write, but we can't execute, right? So in this IDE, we can execute our application.
Okay. So you can write. So what are the steps involved in when you are developing or when you are writing any application? So the steps involved when you are working on any application, the steps involved is first write the code and then compile the code, right? Checking for syntax errors and all. And third one is run the code if required. If you need some server to deploy, you need the server as well, inbuilt server. So where you run in the server. So in the server, what you will do, you will before you run, you have to package the code. Means if you have 5 6 files in your code, you have created 5 to 6 files. These 5 6 files needs to be kind of zip. We need to make a single file by making them as a zip, and then copy your zip from your project to your server, right? Or else before that, you have to start the server, and then you need to do this. And these are all the steps involved when you want to run something. So the difference between Notepad and IDE is it will contain all these steps. Integrated development environment. You will not only develop it, you can compile it, you can run it. If required, it will have an independent server in it. So this is called an IDE. So in the MuleSoft, we will use an IDE called Anypoint Studio. So we'll discuss these features at later point. So Anypoint Studio, we need the studio to set up and download and set up. So everyone use this URL to download and set up the studio, right? So choose your environment, Windows, Mac, Mac, Linux, depending on your OS. And then go to the download site, and you will go to the download page. So choose your operating system, click on I agree, and click on download. You will get an latest version of the studio. Okay, so let me download. I too don't have the latest version. 7.8. Okay, so that is it. So what you have to do once you download it, now you downloaded it, so extract the Windows installation file into the C root folder. So it's saying take some folder and extract whatever you have downloaded. I will keep my softwares as a folder, and then I will keep everything out here. So extract your, you will get this kind of studio folder, and extract this to a folder. You will get this kind of folder, and then in that you will have Anypoint Studio.exe. Create a shortcut of it in the desktop. So usually all of you know how to create a shortcut, but if anyone was very new from non IT background, right click and send it to desktop. So it will create a shortcut. So right click on the exe file and send it to desktop. So the next one is, once you open the studio will ask, where should I store my files? When I create the project, where should I store? So you have to inform studio that you have to store your files. I'll keep a folder for every batch that I deal. I'll keep videos where I'll download and upload your videos. I'll download into this folder, and then workspace where I'll choose this as a workspace. Your all batch projects will be available over here. So batches 21, 4th is the month number and April, and then time 7:30 a.m. So this is the batch name. So this is the workspace that I will store. So now studio opens. So let's see how the studio will be. And your studio will be opened like this. So your studio will contain different sections we will see in the studio. So each section is called a view. What is a view? It will view us something, it will allow us to view something. So what is a view? View is a package explorer, is a view. It was showing what are the files, folders are available inside my project, right? And then when I double click and open this one of the file, so this will show us the canvas. What is a canvas? Generally where the painter draws something is called a canvas. So in the Mule is also a drag and drop based thing. So wherever we will drag and drop and create our applications is called canvas, right? If you want to drag and drop, you need some kind of activities, you need some kind of things to drag and drop. Those things are available in the palette. So you will choose one of this thing and you will just drag drop, right? This is called palette. This is one of the view, and you will have console. When you run the application, it will print the information for you, what's happening when the application is running, kind of logs it will print. This is console. And you will have problems, you'll have Mule properties. Suppose if something is wrong, so that will get displayed in the problems view. And once you created your application, your entire application output will be displayed over here. This is called outline view. So everything is a view. So let's see our application, our studio has opened or not. Yes, it has opened. So now all my views are empty because I don't have any projects to open. So we'll get a pop-up. Until we get that pop-up, this will be a not responding state. We have to wait until, yes. to wait for some time. For first time when you open a new workspace, it needs something to settle. Okay, I'll do a small setting. Don't ask me what I'm doing, you'll get to know. So now these are the different views. So what we are doing, we are trying to create a first application. How do we create that first application? First application, development and testing. So this was the step-by-step documentation available for the first application in the documentation section. So everyone just take the links whatever I am giving here in the chat, so that it will be helpful for you to when you do practice. Okay, so take this first two, copy the first two. So one is downloading, another one is doing the first application. Let's go and use this first application and follow the steps to do. Okay, so hello mule tutorial. So prerequisite, how example works, set up the example. So these are the steps they have given. Create a project in the Anypoint Studio named Hello Mule. How to create that? Select file new mule project and provide the project name. So file new mule project, or create a mule project, or toolbar icon, new button, mule project. All will take you to the same place. So file new mule project. What happened? So you will get a wizard. Provide the project name. I just prefix an alphabet starting with A, so that all my projects will be in the order to see, or whenever I want to refer it. So A hyphen hello world hyphen A hyphen hello world is my project name, and then just click on the finish button. And it will create the project. Where does it's creating the project? In the workspace location, under the workspace, it is creating a folder called a-hello world, and it is creating it. So what it is creating in the back end, it is creating the folder structure, this entire folder structure, and in that we'll have src, we'll have main, we'll have mule, right? And then with the project name, we have a file is created. So generally, where do we write our programming or write our programming inside this file? So as it's a first application, don't go through all the folders and try to understand everything in a single go. Just imagine, just only concentrate on the src main mule folder, the first folder, and hello world .xml. So wherever we will do wherever we'll do our development, that is this file. This is called a mule configuration file. So generally, where do we develop java applications? In .java. Where do we do C applications? In .c. In the same way, the mule applications or mule programming we will do in .xml file. That file is called mule configuration file. Wherever the integration product you will go, the coding will be in the .xml file. But what we will do, we will not write .xml, it will auto generates. We will only do drag and drop, and then the tool will at the back end it will generate an XML code. So this is your canvas. When you create a project, with the project name a file will be created. In this file we will use this palette icons and palette components, and then we will develop the application for our first application. Okay, and then what else is there inside your documentation? So first thing, what I want to do, I want to create a first application. This is why I will ask you guys to register. So what I will do is, in the first application, what I want to do, how you guys and me are interacting. We are interacting with an URL. Means from the browser, I am sending some request. So I am getting some response back to the my browser. In the same way, I want to create a simple application which takes a request from the browser and returns and returns me hello world. So browser, I will send a request and it should return me saying hello, welcome to Mule. So if you want to interact to the internet with the help of the browser, what we need to use? We need to use the HTTP. So in the same way, here in the studio we have HTTP. So select this HTTP and choose this listener, or go to the favorites, uh, drag drop the control, not control, just click it, and then again do one more click in the canvas, so it will create a listener. So when you are sending a request to the browser, from the browser, what you are mentioning, you are mentioning three things: HTTP or HTTPS. It is a protocol. Meet.google.com. This is the host name. Generally, after the host name, there will be a port. By default, if it is HTTP, you will have 80 port, or else you will have 443 port. In our case, the Google Meet is using HTTPS, so it will be a 443 port. And then this is the host name, :port. And then finally, meet.google.com is used by many other people in the internet, not only by me. So in the world, or in the current instance, there will be many thousands of meetings might be happening on the meet.google.com. But how you guys are connected with me? So that is by your meeting ID. So in the same way, this is the called, we will call it as a resource, or in general terms, we will call it as an ID of the meeting. Right? In the same way, here also we have to create, we have to configure your listener to handle this kind of request, or to allow browser to send this kind of request. So I will use HTTP. I will use HTTP as my protocol, and where my application will run, if I run my design my application will run on localhost. What is the port number? I can give on any port number, but Mule uses 8081. And what is my resource of my application? How browser will identify my application? My application should have a name. So my application name is hi. So finally, if I combine all these things, how my URL will be framed: HTTP :/, your host name and port number. So this is the way to separate the things. Protocol and host name. Host name will be separated by : 2/, and your host and port are separated by : and finally your resource is separated with the help of an high. Okay, so we will frame this kind of URL. So this is the URL we are going to test. To test this, we need to develop our application. So this is my application. So in the application, we drag dropped the listener. I'll show it again one more time. So in the favorites, click on the listener. Again, click it here to drop the listener. So listener is created. So when you select anything in the canvas, the properties or the values that we have to assign that will be displayed over here. This is called mule properties. Anyone raised hand? Ramesh, any questions? So don't click on this raise hand. I will.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
You don't say about that pallets or something you are taking.
Your question on the palette, mule
This
palette.
this odd modules and logarithm. What is this? I'm asking.
I will explain. I will explain. In a single class, you can't get anything. I mean everything, right?
Directly you're
Just
taking
whatever we
listener.
will use,
That is
we
why
will.
I'm not understanding.
Okay, you don't understand why you are taking a listener, right, Ramesh?
Yes, sir.
So why I'm taking the listener? Is it your question? Correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. I'll explain that. So why I'm taking the listener? when when I send a request to my meet.google.com, why I'm getting this page, or why you are getting this page, there is some program is trying to accept this request, right? So in the same way, we need in the mule program, we need something to accept our request from the browser. So that part is done by your listener. Okay, so just click on the favorites in the mule palette. This is the place where we will have our activities to use. Click on the mule palette, take a listener, so that this listener now needs to be configured to accept your request. What should I configure? I should configure my protocol, where my application is running, what port it is using, and then what is the path of my application, or what is the resource of my application. So that's the reason I took a listener here. So when you select the listener, or when you select anything in the canvas, your mule properties will show you the properties of that particular event, that particular component. So the component name is listener, and it has some connector configurations. We'll see what are these configurations. So as it has a drop down, click on this. It is suggesting us create a new configuration. How to create? Generally, always new will be done by a plus button. So next to this, there is a plus button. Simply click on this. You will get this screen. By default, all values are populated. So your protocol is HTTP. Your host is all interfaces 00 or local host. Anything is fine. And your port number is this. So all by default, you get all the values, whatever you are expecting. Host name, port number, and the protocol. So just click on OK. So now you will get your connector configuration. If at all, there is already an existing connector configuration is there, choose it. And if you want to see what is there inside, click on this edit button. So don't click always a plus button. Only click the plus button whenever it asks, whenever your drop down says create new, then only click on the plus button. If your drop down is showing something already available, if you want to see that, click on this edit button with the pencil icon. So you will see the configurations. Okay, and in the bottom section of your canvas, your file, there are three tabs. We'll discuss about these three tabs at later point of time. For time being, we'll go with the just a message flow section. So select the listener to show your properties. So I have configured my host number. sorry, my protocol host name and port number, and I have to configure my path to access it. So already you have something called path. So when there is a not fully configured on this particular component, you will see a red color mark here, and as well as in the properties at the top, it will show you something is missing. So I am providing the path as hi, right? And then this is done. So now it accepts the request. So after accepting, when you run the application, you should know when you run the application and you send a request from the browser, you should know you received the request. For that reason, we are just printing a logger. We are using a logger which prints something on the console. So you will use this logger. In the message section, just mention request received, and finally you need to send some message back to the browser. So use set payload, and then finally add one more logger. So logger, what I am configuring, request received, and at the end I am saying request completed, and then I need to send some message back to the browser. I'm using set payload. Here in the set payload, make sure this f of x. So it's showing it as a clicked or unclicked, right? So here it was in some expression mode. We have to switch it to the literal mode where we can see. So it's like a button. It show it like a clicked and unclicked. Make sure you unclick it so that you will not see any colored font here. It will behave like a normal text box. And here mention hi, welcome to Mule. So the message we will write whatever we want to send to the browser, and then we will save it out, and then run your application by right click and right click on your application, and then click on run. Either you can run here or there are many ways you can run, but simple way is right click on your canvas and run the project. So it will take 1 or 2 minutes to start the application. So meanwhile, anyone has any question on this? Deepak, any questions?
Yeah, set payloads, set payloads means like a injection, right?
What was that?
Set payload is like injection, right? In might like connect to the code.
Injection. I didn't understand the last word. Is it mean injection?
Yeah. Like the trigger the code, right?
No, not triggering the code. Listener is your trigger.
Yeah, HTTP is a trigger.
Listener is our trigger. Set payload is something like we are setting something.
Okay. Means not hitting the path, right?
It's not hitting the path. Listener will accept the request. Once you accepted the request, what you need to send back to whoever invoked this. So that is nothing but your set payload.
Okay, listener is a trigger, right? And set payload
Listener is the trigger.
Okay.
Set payload is that for the trigger, what you want to respond back.
Okay. Got it.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Raghu?
Yeah, what is the logger?
You can lower your hand, whoever has completed the doubts.
Yeah, what is the logger? Why we
Just it,
logger?
we'll see once we run the application.
Okay.
You will get to know.
Next.
Any other questions? Let's go to the console. Console is the place where it will show you once your application, what is your IDE is doing, what we have discussed about IDE. IDE not only write your code, it will compile your code. let me switch back to the other view. So once you run your application, it will compile, it will build your code, and it will do something, and finally it will create a zip file, right? This is your zip file. So that is what your IDE is doing. So it is creating your zip file, packaging your code, and after that, what it is doing, it is going to the server. So your IDE software will come with a server. So this is the server where you will have your Mule server comes with an IDE, and your IDE is starting your server, right? If you don't understand, leave it. So just I want to explain about IDE. So this is your server which inbuilt comes with your software. AnyPoint Studio 7.7 is my software. In that I have a server, and your server was started, and your application, yeah, hello world, is moved to over here, and then it get deployed into the server. So your IDE started the server, and finally it deployed your application. That is what an IDE means. Now my application is deployed. I want to clear this, information that is printed over here. So to clear your console, just use this icon, clear console. Now what I will do, I will send a request from the browser. What is my expectation? My expectation is browser should give me some kind of message back. Let's go and see it out. Send the request to the browser. What you get? Hi, welcome to Mule. How did you get that? By setting up the payload, right? And next, why you need loggers? So this is your console. When your application receives the request, as a developer, how should you know request is received? That is what loggers will print you some message in the console or in the logs, so that as a developer you will know request is received. Suppose if your browser is sending some numbers to you, how do you know what numbers browser sent, right? So to know what I have received from my browser, or to know what is happening inside my application, we will keep the loggers and we will print the value something is needed. So when I developed a big application, when it is failing, how do I know why my application is failed? It is with the help of the loggers. Suppose you are sending two numbers, right? And you are adding it. Somehow you received an error. How do you know how your application is failed? So if you know what the things you received, so if you print before processing, if you print what is the request you have received, then you will take the values whatever is printed, and then you will process it, and then you will debug your application. So your loggers will help you in debugging the application. Okay, so this is about your first application. First application development and testing, we have completed this. And now let's come and discuss about Mule applications and flows. So whatever we have created a Mule project, this Mule project will contain Mule configuration files. There will be, in a project, we may have one or more than one Mule configuration files. Each Mule configuration file contains a flow. So whatever it has created, when you drag drop a listener, whatever you have created, whatever the flow, whatever the Mule application has created, this is called as a flow. So when you drag drop many flows will get created. So these are the flows that is created. So wherever you write your code is a flow. Without flow, there will be no code we will write. So in general, where you write a Java, where inside Java file, what we will write? We will write a class, right? Inside C, we will write functions, right? In the same way, in the Mule, whatever the code we will write, that code will be written as a flows. Each Mule configuration file contains a flow. This flow may be one or more. We have just observed we have created more than one flow, and your flow will contain what? It will contain an event source. Mule event source means which accepts the request. And then you will have event processors. And if you want to connect to any systems, you will have connector endpoints as well. So what it will do, your flow will receive a request from external environment, external to your application, and then it will create an event once it receives a request. So the name itself represents Mule event source. It is a source for your Mule event. So it will accept the request, create an event, and hand over the event to the next event processor, and that will process, hand over to the next, that will process, hand over to the next. So depending on the source event, a response will go back depending on the last event processor's Mule event. So depending on the last Mule event status, the response will go out. So every Mule application is a combination of one or more Mule configuration files, and each Mule configuration file contains one flow. This is the flow, and then Mule application. So Mule application or a flow receives events, process them, and route them to the other endpoints. So process them. What is processing? Doing something, reading a file, calling a database, calling a web service, and routing this request to the different endpoints. So what it will do, Mule application accepts and process Mule events through a series of, what is series? Keeping one after the other. Series of Mule event processors plugged together inside a flow. So you have Mule event processors available in your palette. You are keeping them and you are plugging them together inside a Mule flow. So what initiates the flow execution? It is your listener which initiates your flow execution. So what is a Mule event processor? Here it will do, either it will do transformation, it will do filter, enrich, whatever it is. We'll try to understand these terms at a later point, but when you are referring this as part of revision, this will help you. So process them and process the events and its messages. In the next 1 or 2 sessions, we will see about Mule event model. So you will try to understand what are the parts of the Mule event. And then Mule flow. What a Mule flow will typically contain? A Mule flow is this. This is a Mule flow. In the Mule flow, you will have an event source which receives a request externally, and you have an error handling block. So this is a section for any error happens here. So error will be handled here. This is error logic we will write here to handle the error. So every Mule application basically contains a Mule, one or more Mule flows, and then Mule flow starts processing an event when it is received by the event source. The flow either contains the all processing stages or route the message to the other flows. Even from one flow, you can call other flow as well, or you can break up a big flow into various flows or subflows that are easier. So when we are writing Java classes or C functions, right, we will not write everything in a single class or single function. In the same way, in the Mule flow as well, if you have to process a big logic, we will not write all the big logic in a single flow. We will break them into modules. So we can write them in flows or multiple subflows. From one flow, we will call the other flow or subflow. And then, as I said, all your code will be written in the XML. When I do drag and drop this, automatically code will be generated at the back end. That is what your tabs here displays configuration XML. So I have generated a flow. I have HTTP listener. I have a logger, set payload, logger. This is the actual code that is generated. For developer compatibility, we are seeing them in graphical view, that is message flow. Text view is your configuration XML. So this is your one of the feature of your IDE. And then Mule application building blocks. The main building blocks of the Mule applications are the components. So these are the components we just drag and dropped. So these are the components we have. All these components are called, divided them into modules depending on the functionality. If you are interacting with HTTP related things, so all HTTP related components are grouped together and the name given to the group is HTTP. And all the core things, so that are grouped together and they named it as a core. So by default, when you create a project, you will get a core module and HTTP module. If you want, you can add different modules that are already available here. Just you have to click on the palette add module and you have to do drag and drop so that you will get these things are added. So we'll see these building blocks in tomorrow's session, and as well as debugging the Mule application in the tomorrow session as well. Okay, that's all for today. So do take these two links and do take these two links. One is download and install the studio, and the second one is how to develop a fast example. So save these two links and try to complete installation and try to complete your uh, development of your first application. Those who join newly today and you don't have any invite in your calendar, so please share your details in the third link. So that's all. So any questions, Deepak?
Uh, so this video can be shared, sir,
Yeah, it
because
will
I
be shared.
joined late, so that's why.
This will be shared. This is the link. You can see after 10 or 11, you will get a video uploaded in this link.
Okay.
So first 4 sessions are free. So you can attend and decide whether you want to continue or not. So in the current, this is your playlist. Yesterday's video was added. Even you will get your today's video, after some time. Okay. So that is all for today's session. If anyone joined today freshly, so please complete your registration so that we will send you an email invite for your email, so that it will not, when you join, or it will not disturb the session. So now we'll go one by one. Ashok, what was your question?
The listener is a connector or component, Kishore?
We'll talk that at later sessions. Just today, do practice a simple example.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, it's an operation inside a connector.
Yeah.
Shruti,
Yeah, Kishore. The thing is, like, are we going to do any project kind of thing so that we can get the like live experience kind of thing like that?
so first, before we do project, what we need?
Yeah,
We
understanding
need
and the
basic
concept.
understanding on everything, right? So
Yeah.
the misconception where all the students have is, so they look for the fancy kind of things. They need not only use, it's applied to all. They'll ask, will you share interview questions? Will you share real-time project? So first thing is, if we cover all the basic concepts, if you are strong on the basics, right, it's not much time to understand any project. Okay, so what we'll do in our session is, we will cover all the basic things. We'll start building the applications. At some point of time in the session, I'll show you a real-time project, how it look likes. And within the same way, we will also develop a small application by mixing all the things, so that a real-time project will be created for you, but not 100% functionality, a minimal functionality, but having all the standards.
Okay.
Got it?
Then are we going to learn more about MUnit and all? What about that, Kishore?
So the course is designed in such a way that anyone who do practice, who attend regularly, they can go and work as a 2 or 3 years experience on the mill. And the same way, who has real 2 years experience, you will also work on the same way, which covers all the important topics. So important topics like data weave, REST services, RAML, any point platform, we have given more priority to that. So and tools like Mav and Git, Jenkins. So those are also be covered, and error handling. So who has, so the important sessions in important topics in my sessions are, so the first one, mule event model, and the second one, REST services, REST invocation, configuration properties, error handling, right? Platform, design center, I mean, whatever, complete any point platform, data weave, right? And then deployment models, GitHub, hope might be you know it, and Maven. These are the most important sessions that we will concentrate more. We'll spend a lot of time, even in data sensing, flows, Airflow as well. These are the most important things. So the other things are not that much high priority we will give. So in the same way, MUnit will also be covered. We'll cover in an MUnit in one session. We'll try to give you the basic things to start working on the MUnit.
Yeah, you understand,
Okay.
right? Because when we are learning this, we're gonna put experience on this and we're gonna work on it, right?
I
So
understood.
the thing is like
That's what I
we
said,
are
right?
yeah, we should be in a position
That's what
to
I said.
get
When
into
you
things.
start, when
Yeah, yeah,
exactly when you start working, MUnits is not that much important. MUnits is needed. Before you go to MUnits, you have to complete the development. So when you go in terms of interview, there will be 1 or 2 questions may or may not asked on the MUnit, but the most questions you will face is on the platform, right? So error handling, you will get the questions on configuration properties, secure configuration properties, right? You will get questions on REST services. So this is the place where I am saying, wherever is required, most important, we'll stretch more time there. We'll spend more time there. Which are need less important, we'll try to give basic to moderate information on that, so that at least whenever you may face that, you will at least kickstart with our basics. You got what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm not
yeah,
going to
Kishore.
cover. I'm saying I'm going to cover, but that is not the high priority in my mind. The high priorities things are this: they were platform, config properties, basics of your mule, how your flows work, what is your mule event model, and all, and driving you all the members to complete the certification. So that was the main motto of my sessions, because I can say yes now, but end of the course you may raise the same question again. You said yes on the day one, but you didn't cover much, right? So I don't want to do any kind of false promises. So whatever I am going to deliver, I'll just explain that, so that I will not get any crash questions at the end,
Yeah, guys.
right?
After going
Any other
through
questions
this,
from anyone?
after going
Yeah.
through these sessions and all,